Hey guys, Kitty Sapphire here, and welcome to my nerd news. How's everybody doing on this Wednesday? I'm going to keep it very short because I'm still working on a lot of stuff for next week for BronyCon, and I know time was ticking and I was losing a little bit of track of time, so I didn't necessarily want to cancel because it's like it sucks when you do an announcement and then you have to take it back. I'm not that type of person. If I'm going to say I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it. It's just that we'll just have to cut it really short today. Usually I do 30 minutes. Maybe I'll just do 15. This might also, if you guys want, I can do a two-parter. Whichever you guys prefer. You know, you're welcome. I love to hear from you guys, etc. So, San Diego Comic-Con was this weekend. And I always wanted to go. You're talking to a 14-year veteran at New York Comic Con. It's really cool. The atmosphere is really cool. It's a little bit more a bumper to bumper. Again, I'm spoiled, and I've been to other conventions where it's not so bumper to bumper to bumper. There are other big conventions where you're not shoulder or bumping into a large quantity of people, but I remember when I was younger in middle school and I went to New York Comic Con for the first time, and it was just for one floor. And I didn't realize, I thought this was the only convention, this was the only convention in New York City, let alone the whole entire country, that was like this. Come to find, it's actually a sister convention of San Diego Comic Con. And if you guys don't know, which I highly doubt, is usually a huge gathering of all the different types of nerddoms, anime, and comic books and science fiction and everything. And this is where they house all the new announcements, trailers, and stuff like that. New video games that are coming out. Not as big as E3. They'll show you like upcoming stuff that they promised. Also play testing of various different games. Like for instance, last year at New York Comic Con, they had like the new Soul Calibur. They had the new Dragon Ball Z booth. And several other video games. So yeah, that's pretty much the big hub of where they actually do all of their new trailers and what's coming, what new TV shows are coming out, and what is new in the movie system. Well, for all those who are huge comic book fans and Marvel fans, either you love it or hate it, but Marvel had a lot to show and a lot to say. Same thing with DC. I'm excited for both of those comics. Of course, I'm a huge Marvel fan. I will forever be a a huge Marvel fan. I will continue to support Marvel. But the thing of the matter is, as I got older, I come to find that I respect both companies, both Marvel and DC. So if you guys, my thing is, if you guys have a good story and I love the characters, that's pretty much it. So like I saw, unfortunately, I didn't go. That's one of the, I would have to say, dream conventions that I would love to go to at least once. At least once. I don't, I'm not greedy. Just one day visit would be really cool. Well, no, not one day visit. You're traveling across the country and it's like you're going there for one day. Are you crazy? No, it's just one-time visit. That's better. I would like to do a one-time visit at this convention for all 4 days. I remember I did a 4-day convention run at New York Comic Con back in 2014. It was so great. So if it's as good as that experience, I'm looking forward to later on down the line to be heading over to San Diego Comic Con. But we'll get down to the nitty-gritty. So, in Marvel news, they actually showed the Eternals, several different new movies that they're coming out. Eternals, we've heard large quantities, we heard about it. We don't really know what they were. They're pretty much an obscure group. I actually had to do some serious research about it. there were some facts that I was a little bit confused about. Some of the things that I got wrong, but it's like, it's like whatever. It's one of the beautiful things about going back and going into the encyclopedia and basically, ooh, this, that, and the third. Like, for instance, you found out that Ego was actually a celestial, not an eternal. So, I digress. Anyway, so like I said, Marvel has a lot to say regarding their new movies, their new lineup, and I'm looking forward to it. They have a lot more streaming shows, such as The Falcon and Winter Soldier. I believe Loki is also a streaming show. WandaVision and Hawkeye, I think, is also, and I think What If. I don't know if What If is a TV show or a movie. If you guys, want to clarify on that, let me know. But now they're using a lot of these shows to promote the Disney streaming site. I'm not necessarily too crazy about the streaming site. I've been comfortable with Netflix for a while, and I feel like, changing from stream to stream is kind of a headache, and especially the fact that you would have to be paying a certain fee a month to get these things. So I don't know. Maybe I will have to see what's going on there. But I'm looking forward. If I do get a chance to get it, I would definitely, the ones that I would be really, really curious about is the What If, because I always liked the What If series. The old comic books had some really kooky ideas. I believe Loki is also very interesting, because I think for a while we knew that Loki has been a fan favorite for some time, and Tom Hiddleston didn't seem like he wanted to go anywhere from that character, I guess. Especially the fact that he's gotten so much support, and there was a little hint, plastered on social media, that they were going to do a Loki TV show, and here we are. And then also it really confirmed it when you guys, I don't know if you guys seen this, you guys should have seen this Endgame, where they go back in time and Loki gets the Tesseract and he escapes. So it's like, yeah, so we're gonna see Loki again, and I'm looking forward to that. WandaVision looks very interesting. We get to see a little bit more of Wanda and Vision's actual interactions. I felt that was a little bit more or less rushed in the Marvel universe. There wasn't really a clarification of their relationship. Like, you had like the second Avengers, and it seemed like they were friends. There was no inkling of them being a love relationship, and then later on down the line, when they do the Infinity Wars, all of a sudden they're getting together. I would like to see the in-between stuff. I know, it's a movie and you have a lot of content to go through. You can't just get every single pinpoint, but I digress. This is a really good way of introducing that dynamic between them and how they got to be. Falcon and Winter Soldier, their chemistry is so good. I'm looking forward to that. I know there's going to be quite a few comical situations. Especially the fact that Falcon has taken over for Captain America, since Captain America, is old now and he can't pick up the shield like he used to anymore. So, it's going to be very interesting with that. So, like I said, I'm on the fence with the Disney streaming, because I don't necessarily like the idea of basically buying another stream system when I already have Netflix. And it's also very sad that, they took off Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, Punisher, and Daredevil, where those were really good shows. And, Disney's pulling the plug on all of them because they want to do their own streaming site. So, we'll see what comes of that. Another point of this announcement, Hawkeye getting his own, I'm not sure if it's a movie or TV show, but the fact of the matter is, a lot of people were making fun of that, Hawkeye and none of the agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. or the assassins of S.H.I.E.L.D. really get any recognition. Well, there you go. Now you got a show dedicated to you guys and how, their training goes. Also, the fact there is an assumption that he does have a protege, that, he passed on all his knowledge of using the arrow and his assassin skills. So we're going to see, I hope, if that comes to pass, that's going to be very interesting. I know there is a little bit later on, they have this thing called Young Avengers, and maybe his protege becomes the Hawkeye of that team. We'll see. So Black Widow. A lot of people have been talking about Black Widow. It's about time that they got her own movie, because she puts up a lot, with them. Tony, Thor, Captain America, Hulk, and her co-worker Hawkeye. It mustn't be easy to basically wrangle all those powers, and being sort of like the heart of the Avengers. And it's about time that she got a little bit of recognition. So hooray for Black Widow. As for the movies, from what I understand, of course, it talked about the Eternals. I don't know too much about them. There were certain characters that I thought were in Turtles. They weren't actually. And it gave me a chance to go back. What I really love about Marvel and comics and stories like this, with long episodical long episodical, how could I say it? Epics and miniature stories and character building and world building, and I love that, and it gives me a chance to research all these things. And the Eternals gave me that chance, and it was like coming home. It reminds me, when I was little, I used to look up all the mythologies back in the day, and this is just like modern day takes on mythology. So I thought that was really cool. But we'll see how the Eternals come out, especially the fact that they seem to have a phenomenal cast of people, including my personal favorite, Bobby, since I started and binge watched Stranger Things, and actually I can't pronounce her name properly. Please, whatever you do not revoke my Geek or Nerd card. She is the actress from Stranger Things who plays 11, or Elle, in this, that's her recent name now, which, by the way, I'm thinking about doing a cosplay of her when she is in the pink dress with the blonde wig. I don't know. We'll see. So yeah, I'm looking for the Eternals. I'm looking forward to Shang-Chi, especially the fact that I heard rumors around. Of course, this is from other people's perspective, not specifically mine. But the fact of the matter is, it's nice to add more diversity to the cast, having your first Chinese superhero, or first Chinese superhero. And I think there are rumors flying around that Mandarin is supposedly to be the villain, especially the fact that a lot of people were disappointed on Iron Man 3's interpretation of the Mandarin. Me personally, I have to agree with that, because wow, the Mandarin was a very intimidating force, and it's just like, to be regressed to be some kind of a clown. I thought that was very insulting. And then also, you missed a huge chance to introduce more people, more diversity to your cast. Because let's face it, one thing is for sure, Marvel is, from top to bottom, foundation to now, seems to be all about these different stories from different aspects, from different walks of life. And it's just like, it's beautiful in my case. So, I mean, it's beautiful in the overall case, or I feel it's to be so. So, Shang-Chi, I'm looking forward to that. I don't know too much about him. Again, this is another character that I will have to research, and, that's something that I love to do. Doctor Strange and the Madness, the Multiverse of Madness. From the looks of it, of the title, I was like the first one on board. I wanted to see it. It looked really like gritty, and we're going into more mysticism, and especially going to expand, because all the different worlds that Doctor Strange went through, especially with the ancient one that showed him these places, get to try all these different things. But then I heard it was possibly a thriller / first take for Disney and Marvel Studios to do a horror angle. I don't know about that. One thing is for sure, I'm not a horror buff. It was a little bit, I have to say, even as a fan of Stranger Things, there's certain parts of it that is nightmare fuel, and I have to say I didn't get necessarily a good night's sleep for at least a few days, at least a week. You know, there were times where it was like that because it got me back when I was a kid, you know, traumatized with that type of stuff. But I digress. But so I'm a little bit on the fence now, and it stinks because it looks very interesting. Um, I do like, you know, Madness, since I'm a huge Alice in Wonderland fan. I know that's, what does that have to do with it? Well, have you seen any other interpretations such as Zen Scope's Beyond Wonderland, Return to Wonderland, these little small not manga, comic books of their dark take of Alice in Wonderland, and also American McGee's Alice in Wonderland. It's all about madness. So me, the curious type, like Alice, I'm curious to see what they have to offer for Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness. Whew, that's a mouthful. Say that 10 times fast. Anyway, that's besides the point. So yeah, really looking forward to that. Thor: Love and Thunder. It's really neat. It's really nice to see Natalie Portman back in the role. I know a lot of people are not necessarily too fond of it because now you have Natalie Portman playing as the Mighty Thor, which is the more recent edition or recent version of Thor, where Thor is a woman. And I believe the Enchantress in the comics, in Mighty Thor, that the Enchantress basically rebutted, is it proper rebuttal, or basically canceled out Thor's connection to his hammer. And it looks like Jane Foster or another young lady comes by and has a much more stronger connection with Mjolnir and basically becomes the new Thor. And it's basically sort of like a road trip, if not an adventure, where Thor has to find a way to get his powers back. And with this help of, you know, I think Thor coaches the new Mighty Thor, and you know, filling in his role until he gets his powers back, I guess. Again, like I said, I haven't full on read the comic, again, with all these different lineups, and then also a couple of things I'm going to talk about in the last thing that they showed, which has my heart a flutter. If you guys know anything about me, you know that the last thing I'm going to talk about regarding the Marvel Studios has me all kinds of giddy happiness and surely bliss. But we'll get to that in a minute. So yeah, I haven't read the Thor comics as of late. I do understand, yet I don't understand why. Like, I'm on the fence, and I understand why a lot of people are not so nuts about the new Mighty Thor, of having it being a female, even though Thor is still present. But you know, I can understand the diversity of it, you know, but as long as the characters are not so flat, and they do it in such a way that they tie in, like, for instance, Miles Morales, that, you know, Spider-Man, apparently there's multi-universes, and Peter Parker has his universe, and Miles Morales has his, and it just so happens in Miles Morales's universe, Peter Parker is dead, you know, and he has to take over as Spider-Man. I think that was great. I think that was great, and that was wonderful. And then also Miles Morales, when he jumps into various different universes, him and Peter Parker can band together. I love crossovers. I love team-ups. They're just so great. I love it. I love it. I love it. And plus, they seem to have good chemistry. As you could tell, I like Spider-Man into the universe. So yeah. Anyway, so, you know, I'm not too torn up that Thor is, or the Mighty Thor is now a woman. Especially the fact that now Natalie Portman is back. I do appreciate her, and I do like her as an actress. And then on top of that, I do like the chemistry, especially in Thor, The Dark World. I know a lot of people didn't like that one, but it showed a little bit more of a connection I felt, between Natalie Portman and Chris Hemsworth in it. So it's nice to see them share screen time again. And plus, I like Jane Foster with Thor. It's cute. I like it. If any other shipping, if it's not Jane Foster with Thor, it has to be I would have to say Storm. No, I take that back because I really do like Storm with T'Challa. But then again, I heard some really, really bad stuff from T'Challa, the way he's treating Storm. So I don't know. Well, it's a mixed bag. But as far as shipping is concerned, I do like Jane Foster with Thor. I digress. So, last but not least, the favored movie that I always wanted to see, and that is the announcement of a reboot of Blade. Okay, for all of you guys who don't know, I am a huge vampire fan. If it's not cute little stuff with Eevees, pastel Lolita, and Ootsie Cutesy magical girls, I go for the hard, gothic, grungy, dark, of basically Victorian, if not Gothic, I won't say mysticism, but I would have to say supernatural stories. Because not necessarily vampires are distinctly just straight horror. Vampires have weaseled their way through all different types of genres, from action to thriller to romance to comedy, but I just love vampire stories, period. And also the fact that I really love Blade. I grew up with it as a kid. I was really excited. I first saw the movie. It was a mixed mosh. It was simultaneously watching the Blade movie and watching the 90s Spider-Man, which got me into Blade. Actually, I got into Blade because of my mom. And it was one of those taboo, because of the fact that we watched, pretty much a lot of vampire movies together, especially Buffy the Vampire Slayer at the time. Blade was that forbidden movie that I could not watch because, I was a kid, and basically, my mom didn't watch me watching this super violent movie. And, she would tell me stories about it. She told me the intro of it. And I was like, oh my God, this will sound so cool. And she's like, but no, you gotta wait until you're old enough and all this. And, I was like, okay, fine. So, as that happened, I saw Blade on the 90s Spider-Man. And then I saw the movie on regular TV where they basically cut out most of the really gory bits, but I got a chance to finally see it. And it's like, wow, this is really cool. And, Wesley Snipes really brings it home as Blade. And it's just like, without Blade, without that version of Blade, superhero movies wouldn't be taken as seriously, to be honest. So, it's really nice to have this sort of like granddaddy or grandfather of superhero movies finally be rebooted. Now, the only thing that I wish for this is, since Mahershala Ali is going to be playing as Blade, which I think is a wonderful pick. It's a great pick. I've seen him in Luke Cage, which, goodness, I disliked him. At the same time, I felt pity for him, and it was like real, it was tough. There are several other movies that escape my mind for right now that he's done, and he's just a very charismatic actor. A very solid actor. What I would like to see in this reboot of Blade is I would like to have Wesley Snipes play a cameo, at least to have some kind of respect to Wesley Snipes for bringing this particular character to life. Because yes, Mr. Goyer was the one who did all the directing and what have you. Also, I noticed a lot of people in other articles don't necessarily state this, but Wesley Snipes also came up with a lot of those ideas as well, and basically shared them with Goyer, such as, Blade was technically, a 70s, 60s type, not necessarily a goofball, but was sort of like a campy version, sort of like a Shaft vampire hunter. Blade, Wesley Snipes had a couple of ideas regarding, the serious tone, the arrangement of characters, also the fact of how technically his personality was going to be. I mean, he wasn't the most charming guy on the block compared to several of the other superheroes that we've had, like Captain America or Spider-Man or even Iron Man for that matter. But, you know, I feel that Wesley Snipes's Blade, you know, really set the foundation for superhero movies. So it warms my heart. It makes me so happy that they're bringing back Blade, and I'm looking forward to see what happens. Oh, and by the way, if they do a cameo with Wesley Snipes in it, it would be either A, I would like to see him as maybe the teacher, which in the original comic book, which by the way, again, I had to do some research again, but I went back and Blade had another teacher versus the movie Blade, Abraham Whistler that we know of. He had another one named Jamal. I can't remember his name. His name escapes me now. Darn. But he had another, yeah, he had that particular mentor before Abraham Whistler. So maybe he could play as that particular character, or some people say he should be a villain, which to his detriment, I wouldn't want him to be a villain. Now that I think about it, I thought it was a good idea at first, but then when I really thought about it, it's like, no, if you turn him into a villain, that's kind of discrediting him, and then also you have to kill him. So that's like an allegory of basically killing the old Blade that we know and love, and we owe a huge debt to. So no, now that I really think about it, I think him as a villain would not necessarily be good. So either a side character or a teacher would be best fitting for Wesley Snipes in the new reboot of Blade. I would love to see that. I really would. And actually, because of that announcement, I want to get back into comics again. And I heard about this Vampire Civil War where Blade is actually part of the Avengers and is run at the helm by Black Panther. So Black Panther and Blade on the same team. It's like a dream come true. I don't know. But no, I'm really looking forward to this lineup. Like I said, I'm on the fence about the streaming portion of the Disney streaming service. So we'll see what comes of it. You know, I'll let you guys know. So that's what I have for the Marvel Studio Universe. To make this really quick for the last bit, because I didn't necessarily see the rest of the trailers for DC yet, but the one that I did see was of The Flash. And it looks like it's going into supernatural territory, which to its detriment, I'm curious to see how that works. Especially the fact that, you know, science and fantasy kind of bounces off each other depending on how you spin it. So especially the fact that you have this new villain. I think the character is named Bloodwork. Of course I have to do some more research on that. Yay! But yes, I have to do more research on Bloodwork and why is he that much of a danger and what is he planning to do in order to cripple Team Flash. I mean, it makes sense, especially the fact that Nora went back in time several times and might have maybe mucked up their timeline. So it's like, yeah, it's not looking good. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm curious to see what they have. I still have to check out season 5 for Supergirl. I think there's been rumors flying around that Superman is an older version. I think the comic book Kingdom Come, Kingdom Come Superman or Kingdom Come Supes is going to have a cameo in the Flash season this year. So we'll see about that. As far as Arrow's coming to an end, which to its detriment, I'm okay with that because you know, I came actually in the middle of Arrow, and then later on, you know, I started watching Arrow, but it's okay, but it's not the same as how I love Flash and Supergirl and yeah, Flash and Supergirl, I would have to say, are my favorite. Legends of Tomorrow is like a hit and miss. There's some really good episodes. There's some really good seasons. And then there's some that are like, they're okay. So, you know, but I have to give props to Arrow, because without Arrow, you wouldn't have Supergirl, Flash, and Legends of Tomorrow. So, you know, please, whatever you don't think, I don't like Arrow. It's just, I don't know. It's just Arrow is okay with me. Also, you have Batwoman coming in the works. I've heard a lot of issues with that, but we'll see. We'll see. I'm willing to give it a chance. I feel that, you know, all because there's a lot of backlash doesn't necessarily mean it makes the show or the movie or the TV show. Heck, My Little Ponies had some serious backlash in the very beginning, and guess what? I took a look at it, and guess what? It turned out to be one of my favorite shows in American cartoons to date. So, yeah, My Little Pony friendship is magic. I would recommend it to anyone, but yeah, you know, all because something has a huge backlash doesn't necessarily mean it's not good. But of course, you know, that's my personal opinion. And that's it for today. Again, I'm thinking about making this as a two-parter so I can actually get some more information regarding Legends of Tomorrow, Arrow, and Supergirl. So, you know, so hang in tight, guys. If you guys want to see any of my other videos, you can just click at the bottom. You could click and become a subscriber, ring that bell, please, 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 for all the support. Is really, really appreciated. If you guys want to support in other ways, such as support my Patreon page, I have some really cool stuff, some exclusive content, some other materials and art pictures that I have made myself, and you won't get it anywhere else, as well as sneak peeks of various different future projects that I'm doing, including my manga and several of its characters. Of course, there's also Etsy. If any of you want to know anything about any of my announcements, you can check on my Facebook page or my Twitter. And of course, those will be at the bottom as well. All right. So I'll see you guys a little bit later, maybe on Thursday, for art updates, because to be honest, I'm really, really tired. I did pretty much almost an all-nighter last night doing some artwork for BronyCon, but more on that tomorrow, all right? I'll talk to you guys later. Bye!